Are you seeing, boys and girls, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because I'm seeing someone we haven't seen in a minute, a hot minute, as the kids say. Not only on STP, but live in ring when we go to these events. So instead of me rambling and being all excited and carrying on again, like I'm on cocaine because that happens now and then, this is Stirring the Pot with Dr. K and our very special guest. We have Stephen Baker, FKA, King Leon the Sixth. I like calling him King Leon the Seventh. It really pissed him off. AKA King Leon the Black Blade, AKA just Leon. And here we are, boys and girls. It's Stephen Baker with us after a hiatus, if you will. We're getting into all of that stuff. But let's welcome our friend, our Goomba, our pal, one Stephen Baker. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you very much, Don. It's always appreciated. For real, like I said, I should just break it down right now. I messaged him earlier today. I said I wanted to talk about stuff, and well, here we are. So it's always appreciated that you have me on.
And on the fly, spontaneous STP? Are you shitting me? These are the things I live for. Yes.
Yeah, man. I really, like I was saying earlier, I didn't. There was no other choice with the person I was going to choose if I did come back to have a conversation. Because I mean, honestly, like we were just talking about it right before we started recording. I thought it was only a year. It's been almost 2 years that we've even had any Stirring the Pot anything. And one of those being about 2 years ago was the game show 2 Aprils ago, which was still probably one of my favorite things, honestly.
It does. It holds a place in my heart, my man.
It was fun. That was so fun. And you know, our good boy Ryan Frost, one of my best buddies in the business, won the Scotch tape. Yeah, that's why I love it. Yep.
Yeah.
He did.
He's the sole winner, if you will.
The sole winner, yeah, the only ever, because we only did the once. But that was a very good time.
We tried for 2, but you know, my responsibilities didn't really line up with the schedule, so we never really got that number 2. But you never know, boys and girls. That was so goddamn fun. You just never know. Number 2 could always be an option.
Absolutely.
So let's just kind of jump right into this because you really surprised me out of left field, out of the blue, very randomly. One Stephen Baker was like, "Hey, want to do an SCP?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah! Where the fuck have you been?" So let's just start right there.
Yeah.
We might even call the title of this episode because you know I like to make them all special.
Oh yeah, you do, of course.
We just might entitle this one, "Where the fuck have you been?" So let's just start there.
So first off, before I even get into where I've been, I should say maybe you should consider like you do a Stirring the Pot "Where the fuck have you been" edition and start finding people who haven't been around for a while. Something to consider. You might actually get some. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Anyway, I have after my very last match that I had was with Gangrel at New World Wrestling Extreme. That was my last one I ever did to date, and since then and a little before, I was already kind of on the rocks and on the fence about kind of calling it in the wrestling world for a bit, even if it wasn't permanent, because it's never permanent with these kind of things. I don't care what anybody says, whether it be in any capacity or not. But my thing about it is I didn't really have the passion that I once had. I was a little lost character-wise. Like, Leon was great. I had fun with Leon. I had fun with the Black Blade. But I was always King Leon the Sixth. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how I chopped it up, anytime I was like, oh, I need to do a promo or I need to get this done. I need to do this. I need to do that. It didn't matter because it was always like, how can I have a funny promo? Because even though I shouldn't be when I'm trying to do serious fucking characters. But that's just not me overall. I enjoy the comedy of it. I enjoy the glitz and glamour of the fake world of what Behedja was. You know, shit like that. And again, Behedja is still real, by the way. It's just in here. And the thing is like, overall, what ended up happening is like I said, I kind of lost a lot of steam for what I felt was, you know, I was also dealing with some health issues. Still kind of am, but not as bad as they were, you know. So like, I learned to live with them in a positive manner. So, you know, a lot of panic and anxiety attacks at the end of everything. Like, truth be told, and a lot of people don't know this, but the very last show for XWA Thursday Night Throwdown, I did the Battle Royal. I didn't have a match because I just wasn't physically capable of going out there and doing it, honestly, for like in my own head. And I think a lot of it was in my head, but how the fuck am I to know that at the time? So either way, get out there, do the thing. John Roy throws me over the ropes for the big old hoorah for John Roy, which was awesome for him. I loved that still. Great moment. And I got out back and got undressed, and I literally had a giant panic attack out of nowhere for no reason. And it's a consistent thing. Yeah, I know you wouldn't think so, but like, yeah. So I got in my car and left. Got a call from Jose, like, where the fuck are you? Because they were doing the goodbyes at the end, and I'm like, I'm gone. Like, and that was a big tell at the end for me. Like, wow, I think I'm just good here. Like, because I can't even go to a show without fucking having a goddamn, hyperventilating. It's the craziest thing how it just kind of popped up out of nowhere. But
was it not really, a claustrophobia thing, but was it more of the people surrounding you? Was it a social thing that was just kind of weighing on you and kind of really dragging you with this? So what was going on there?
So sound crazy. No, I've never had a problem with people. I've done literally things in front of crowds my whole life. I've played in bands. I've done open mics. I've been a bartender as one of my main jobs. I've always been right there in front of people. Never been an issue with people. What ended up happening, actually, I ended up going to the doctor, and this is going to sound so fucking weird for anyone who doesn't know. I had this thing called supermarket syndrome, whereas I know bright lights and like crazy things that happen like that actually messed with my eyesight so much it almost gave me a vertigo-esque feeling. And that kind of stuff threw me off enough, obviously, as things are going, that, well, here the fuck I am. So, I mean, long story short, besides that, my passion was dwindling anyway. After I tore my Achilles, because that was a big part of it, I ended up tearing my Achilles. I was out for about 6 to 8 months, give or take. It came back as Leon, and it just, it was never the same after that. Actually, it's funny, my very last show before I tore my Achilles was the TOS show. I had a six-man with me, God, who was a Big Boofa, who I'm talking about, fucking Desmond, amazing, by the way. Casey Navarro, fucking Ray Jazz, and like, there's a good-ass group of people for that match, honestly. And I remember going home and be like, all right, cool, felt a little weird. Anyway, tore my Achilles, whatever. Long story short, I'm going to keep rambling if I don't say that. I ended up just losing my passion for it, and it didn't help that I was getting injured along the fucking way. So I since then have just been doing my own thing. The first year I did random jobs here and there, and now, as I'm sure a lot of you know, and people who don't know, I opened up my own gaming store. So and I literally just had a year open about 5 days ago.
So the gaming store, is that like a GameStop with the video games actually, and all of that?
It's tabletop gaming. So like I do like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, board games, D&D, shit like that. So yeah, it's been awesome, man.
And it's been about a year. Your smile is beautiful. You seem to, you seem good, if you will, for the most part, compared to where you were, because I've seen you going through this struggle for a bit.
Yeah, it's
so
been a lot.
To see your face with that beautiful smile and hearing your voice, it's been a minute, my man. And we were kind of, and I know you got your thing out there, but we were worried about you. The fans still talk about you. They still ask about you within the fan roundtable circle and such. And so, I mean, you're definitely missed. You're definitely thought of. And I just kind of want to swoop back, and we're going to get back to the gaming thing. I want to swoop back to, I don't know if all the fans can feel when things aren't working with the talent within.
Yeah.
I kind of can. And you could see this. Now, the Black Blade, that was something fun. And I seen what you were trying to do with it. Yeah. And man, was that Leon the 7th the 6th? Just turned the fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, I tried to be as vicious as I could be with that. That was literally the plan.
But like you were saying, I really like the comedy with the entertainment value. I like the comedy part of it. I'm not really feeling this evil portion of the program. Yes, I'm an asshole, but I do it in a fun way when I'm King Leon the 6th. So you can feel that it was just a smidge, if you will, just a smidge forced.
Yeah. And the thing is like if I can feel that it's forced, people are watching me can feel that it's forced. No matter how you want to chop it up, like they can be some of the dumbest fans in the world, with all due respect to some of them out there, because there are some of them. That doesn't make them blind. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like you can see, and I mean, I'm sure anyone will agree with this who's ever watched any of my matches of every one that I've done. The three characters overall, even though it was all Leon, the 3 versions of what I did. Leon was a grasp at something that was like, I want to feel like people, I wanted people to realize like I can also work. You know, it was one of those things where like I want to show people, no, I can go. And it doesn't have to be this crazy over the top character thing. Even though I still tried a character thing with it, it doesn't have to be over the top. It can be more grounded.
Mhm.
It doesn't work for me because I went in as a fucking crazy over the top king. Like, you know, it doesn't, no matter how you chop it up, I'm over here, you peasant, you blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm doing all the shit, you know what I mean? Like, God damn it, Kincaid. Like, it's been so long since on the voice, I don't even know if it's right. But, like, you know, my thing is, man, it's like, I went in so hot with such a strong, I feel like, character. And this is me giving myself props on that. King Leon the Sixth, I loved it. Even looking back, I'm like, I felt great about it. And the Black Blade I liked, but my problem was is everyone's like, wow, we really like the Black Blade. We think this can work. I'm like, great, I don't. Sorry, I have to cut it. You know what I mean? That's literally what happened to me. Because I had people who were actually giving me kudos, like, yo, we love the Black Blade. I'm like, great, that's one of us. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it turned out to be. So like it is what it is, you know. I fell into it, and like the Book of Black Blade was cool. I did a bunch of shit like that. Those videos in the woods, as cheesy as they were super fun because it was right from the beginning of COVID, you know. Like, and that stuff like it gave us all something to do, and people, man. I just want to say, like, I know we're talking about, you know, me and us and this whole thing right now, but like the wrestling world, I have to say, now that I've been out of it, I really am not bitter about it anymore. In fact, I love wrestling still. I fucking enjoyed my WrestleMania. It was fantastic. I don't care what anybody had to say. I feel like a fan again almost, which is what I want to be, because I got very jaded from it. Very, very just fucking, oh man, I hated it for a while. I really did. And it wasn't wrestling's fault. You know, it's the people. I hate to say this, but it's some of the people in the business's fault. I'm not going to sit here and rag on anyone specifically. That's not what I'll do. But what I will say is overall, man, when I tell you high school's got nothing on wrestling, I fully mean it. Like that, the backstage politics, dog, I'm so good on. Like there's people who still dislike me now because I had an ego. 100% true. I absolutely did. Didn't realize it until it was too late, but like I did realize it. It happens. You got to humble up some way. But it's the people who don't accept the change of what you can be. Like I'm not a fucking bad person. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I'm not a bad person. Life happens. We get in our own heads. Shit happens. But man, wrestling just can take you, man. And I think that was a big part of, honestly, at the end where I was just like, I'm good with this for a while. You know, some of the people, but not all of them, just some.
The character. We spoke of the character. The more natural that you feel doing it, the more presentable it is for you, the more presentable it is for us, and the more presentable it is for the promotion all around. If you're really just not trying, as we use the word forced already,
Right.
you're just not. You're not doing something that obviously King Leon was a made up character. It wasn't something natural. But son of a bitch, did you do it just so well? And I think that yourself as a person, your face, your body, when we see you,
Right.
you stereotyped yourself, right? As the actors do. You know, I mean, come on. When you saw fucking Eric Foreman and Spider-Man as Venom, did you buy that shit?
He was Eric. Like
yes, he was not Venom. That's not my Venom.
That's no fucking Eddie Brock. I'm sorry.
that is not my Venom. But I feel that's a great example for what was going on with yourself personally and what you were trying to present to us, because you felt probably, and I'm not talking to you, but I feel that you felt that King Leon the Sixth had a run. You wanted to give it a good spin, but keep it the king, and you did that. But then here comes Leon, different than all two of than the other two. Obviously, it wasn't king related, and you were trying, as you stated, not to go over the top, but your brain is too creative to not go in that direction.
You know, I gotta say, I think you're right, and like it was one of those things where I didn't realize it until it was already too late. Because I was already in the character, I was going, you know. So I was like, you know what, let's just play it out. In fact, the very last match I ever had, just to bring up, if for people that don't know, when I went against Gangrel, I was King Leon the Sixth. In fact, I was King Leon the Sixth the week prior in the XWA Extreme Rumble. I was in the Final Four with fucking Vinny Marsaglia, Chris Masters, and somebody, I forget who else. But I was like, it was a good form. Like, yo, I get to stand here as King Leon. I got to fucking flex at Masters with a half belly shirt as a ref because I took the ref shirt and hid under the ring for all the match. Like, it was like where I needed to be. And honestly, it was probably one of the best things I've ever done. I got to be real, like, talking character-wise, because, man, by the time it was over, people, I think, honest to God, like, if I went back, I'm pretty sure I got the loudest pop of the night when it came to the Rumble, because people wanted me out so goddamn bad that I got a legit nah. I'm like, this is fucking sick. Like, this is all I want. And I'm like over here like crying and screaming with the refs, like, I have a ref, let me back in. And they're just like, no, it's fucking stupid. But I actually took a ref shirt off and ejected said ref, so I was refing for the fucking match.
And now you're talking to put the timeline in perspective. Doing this as King Leon VI, this is post when you're already legitimately really pushing Leon itself.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't working, and I felt it wasn't working. Like, again, I'll push things until they can't be pushed anymore, unless I know for a fact, no, that's it. Like, there was a point where I felt comfortable, and I was like, okay, I'm happy I can be myself. It was really what it turned out to be, because it was just me. Like, at the end of the day, I can still get on a microphone and do what I need to do, and I still could be in the ring and do what I need to do. But I was like, let's see if I'm marketable enough for it. And honestly, I wasn't. Like King Leon VI is the market. And I needed to, but you going back and saying the thing about Eric Foreman, 100% correct. And I've never thought of it like that. From a fan's perspective, they still see me with a crown, no matter how I want to do it, because of how over the top it was. And that's not a bad thing. I agree. But like, if you're looking back, you're right. That's probably exactly what happened. And no one could buy into it because they know who I'm supposed to be. So, or like, honestly, Jose, perfect example. He's always like, what are you doing? Don't fix what's not broken. I'm like, it's broken. I need to fix it. Like, it's not fucking broken. Stop doing things. Stop changing shit. And finally, I just kept doing it. It's like, all right, well, I'm just going to let you do your thing and you'll figure it out on your own. He was right. I mean, what do I do there? So, I mean, and I know he was right the whole time. I just fucking did it anyway.
And Jose has got the mind for the biz. So, I mean.
That man is my trainer. He's great. I got nothing bad to say about Jose, honestly.
You know how I met Jose Garcia through, it's kind of odd. I met him through poking on Facebook one night. I was kind of getting into the indie stuff,
Yeah.
And I was only maybe, I don't know, 2 years, maybe 2 years deep into the indie scene. And I'm floating on Facebook and I see Jose Garcia live. And he was at an event. And I watched it and I'm like, wow, that was pretty sweet. I don't see people at the events doing live stuff. I go,
right.
I wonder how they get away with that shit, because you're not supposed to be filming full matches, right? Never mind. Facebook Live. Are you fucking kidding me? So I friended him and he friended back, which I was, So I see it again. And then I see it again. Then we start chit-chatting and I see, he's this XWA something or another, his title. And I'm like, I'm fucking 2 hours away easy from him. But now he's got my interest because this guy's going to some cool stuff. And he's able to present me as a fan live right now. I can watch this shit right here. Son of a bitch. Whenever I showed up at the XWA, man, it was like we knew each other for, I don't know, a good solid couple years easily. He was so cordial and so friendly and so everything. And you're going to love this place. This is perfect. This is right up your alley kind of stuff.
Sure.
And it was fantastic. Great. I love me some Jose Garcia. Absolutely.
A quick story about Jose, and I don't know if he knows I remember this or whatever the case is. This is more of a personal thing, but there was a point in time a couple years back. I don't remember how long. It's been a while now, but like I was dealing with like a little bit of a financial issue. I wasn't like terrible off, but I was definitely having a moment, and like Christmas was coming up, and I was like, man, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, I'm like, oh, I got my kid, like I gotta be fucking Santa, all that shit. I gotta figure it all out. And he, was like, hey, I have this thing that like I got for another kid, but if you want it for her, like he was willing to give me stuff to just help my kid have a better Christmas and shit. And I'm like, man, like he invited me over to his house for Thanksgiving. I've gone to his house for some nights for like watching wrestling and shit. Like overall, man, just a very good dude. Like we haven't talked in a while, honestly, but like that man will always have a very, very high level of respect from me. Like that, no matter what fucking he does, honestly.
I'm not telling you what to do because you're your own man. Just give a little hey Jose. He would love to hear from you. I know he would.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, honestly, great dude. I just my thing about like reaching out to people in wrestling, which is the big problem here, is like, and not to say fully, because like again, I still talk to some people.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem with reaching out to wrestling thing is like, I don't want to get bit by the bug again. Because like I know I need to take some time. Like I've gained some weight. Like I mean, I've been losing weight lately, which is great. But like I've gained a lot of weight and I've been putting it back to like wrestling weight, which is great. But I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of cardio to catch up on. I got a lot of anything if I ever want to think about fucking wrestling anytime soon. And that's a huge, huge part of it. And like, so me talking to people from wrestling makes me feel like, well, maybe I could do it one night, you know, but I really fucking shouldn't, especially when I'm still dealing with shit. So, but I mean, not to say you'll never see me in a ring, because the never say never shit is 100% true when it comes to fucking wrestling. Even if it's just me getting my head kicked off by somebody and sleeping for an hour, like I'll fucking do it. I don't care at this point. But it's, you know, I'm probably gonna make my way down. I don't know if anyone's gonna be around watching this, but I'll probably end up in New World Wrestling next month just to say what's up in Bridgewater. Because I mean, I'm
nice.
over, so I'll probably head over there, say what's up to Jimmy and all them. Big shout out to that man, by the way. Side note, James Allen, New World Wrestling Extreme, fucking troop, great dude. Him and his voice, whatever the vibe, however he talks and shit. Regardless of his fucking voice, that man is a saint and is always very, very good to me, and I appreciate him a lot too.
I'm glad you mentioned Mr. Allen. Had him on STP while he was on the road. It was fantastic. I was in Maine actually at the time, and that was interesting. Dig us some James Allen, good dude. But I'm so glad that you mentioned him, because there was a topic I wanted to go back to, the character of Leon. And I know we were doing the character thing, and I don't mean to really spend so much time on this.
No, you're good, dude. Right, you got me for a while now. Let's talk about it. We're good.
Because if I would be so remiss if I did not speak, and this is why I wore this. I said it, I meant it.
Yes. I already know.
Love me some Ryan Frost. At one New World Order Extreme, or wait, New World Wrestling Extreme.
There it is.
God, I'm sorry. There's too many to keep
track. It's a mouthful, Doug. There's a lot of letters in there. There's only supposed to be 4, so you keep going.
Puts on a fantastic product.
Yes.
The production is always fantastic. The way everything looks from a visual standpoint, you take a step back and you look at the seating arrangements, the ring, the curtain, the whole 9 yards, the lighting. Excellent production over there with one James Allen and WWE. But I wanted to touch upon the character Leon before we get away from the character topic, because, and I'm going to go on a limb here, because, I mean, I'm Don Kincaid, Center and Kincaid Files. I hear things, right?
Go for it.
There was talk, and we all know of the Humidor at this point, okay? But there was talk.
My boys.
Yes. And I got a light one for this. And I know you have quit cigarettes, and I applaud you.
Almost 2 years now, yeah. It's crazy.
I applaud you on that one.
Thank you.
The OG Humidor was going to be comprised of, now tell me if I'm wrong, because, you know, just heard it through the grapevine, if you will.
Go for it.
The dirt sheets, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, the OG Humidor was supposedly comprised of Big Smoke. I did not know who the fuck Big Smoke. Let me tell you,
I know what you're gonna say. I think I know what you're gonna say, because I remember the post where you're like, "Who the fuck is Big Smoke?" Is that what we're getting at?
Big Smoke, very mysterious wrestling, mysterious posts, week after week after week, and it gave us something as a fan to. There was meat to bite on, if you will. Now, I thought Big Smoke was going to be Chris Cannon. Okay? That was my thinking. Now, I am the only one in the entire universe, this globe that we live on, my man. I am the only one. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know where this has worked out in my life. I'm the only guy to ever interview Chris Cannon, not once but twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do remember that being a thing. Yes, I talked to Chris.
How? I still don't know. But topic is Humidor.
Yeah.
Big Smoke, one Ryan Frost, one Leon, and one Chris Cannon.
Yeah. So you're correct. So how this all went down. The Humidor, when it was first brought to me and first brought to all of us, we had a group chat. Honestly, like we all kind of got together. It was like, how are we let's figure this out and what we want to do for our direction here. We knew Big Smoke was going to be Big Smoke, and we knew the whole direction that he wanted to take, because that was his character, and let him be who he wants to be, more than fair. Leon was almost created in a sense as well. I should actually say this. This is something a lot of people don't know. Leon was also created in a sense because of the Humidor, because I wanted to be more of on the even keel character-wise. And that was a big thing. So my thing was this. I didn't want to be the over-the-top King, da Black Blade, anything in this group that I'm in when I have these people who are literally just being people. So part of me kind of dulled that down, to be quite honest with you, for Humidor, but it was also a me choice. But regardless, going back to the Humidor part, yeah, so it was supposed to be me as the singles guy and Ryan Frost and Chris Cannon as the tag team. And yep. So the whole plan, honestly, from what I was aware of, was to give them the tag titles and make me the world champ over in WWE, and have the Humidor just start running rampant for a while. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of people recall. I mean, at least I know you recall Chris Cannon saying, "Screw it, calling it quits." Just literally cut off social media completely and bounced and called it a day. Have not been seen since. Like literally, like clockwork. Not even a question. He did message us and message me and say, "Hey guys, just so you know," like he was respectful about it. He's like, "I'm not going to be involved. This is just how I need to be right now." Like, understood. Respect. You got to be. It's your life. You do you, of course. I didn't know him that well, but we knew we talked enough that I was like, okay, there's respect here, and I appreciated that. And I'm sure, Ryan did too. I'm sure Matt did as well. Big Smoke. But then, as everyone knows, the Humidor took a different direction, and we were figuring out, we actually had, I don't think I've ever told anybody this. I don't think anyone's ever told anybody this, to be honest with you. So we had another option for the Humidor, which was going to be the Cure, Lucas Chase. He was one of our options, because me and him were getting really close, and I was like, everyone, and Jimmy's like, who do we gonna get? Who do you want to do? I'm like, I think Lucas is a great call. And it really came down between him and Big Jim, God rest his soul. And the thing was, is Big Jim got the spot, not because of who he was or what the reason was, it's because, believe it or not, Justin was actually going to be, if I'm not mistaken, our first choice, but he was so busy with fantastically doing the roads. I was like, that's awesome, man. He's like, and he wasn't going to be around for a while. So we're like, you know what? We'll see you down the line. Worst comes to worst. No big deal. And obviously, Jim wasn't like a last resort, because Jim was still he was one of our choices. Right. And, and that's how we got Big Jim, and it turned into us four. And man, even from the first get-go, we even went out and, Jimmy invited us over for 4th of July one day, and we all went and hung out. We have this one picture, all four of us together, man. And it's just so cool to see every now and again. It's, man, that's, yeah. Losing somebody like that, especially he became, I'm not trying to jump off topic. I know we're still Humidor, but with Jim, that man was such a gentle fucking giant. He was such a good dude, and he took me when I was going through some of my hardest times, and was always in my messages and saying, I hope you're okay, and I'm here for you. And he was always just a great fucking guy, man. And I couldn't be happier that I ended up with the 3 other guys that I ended up with in that group. Honestly, couldn't have. And I'm grateful that I even had the time that I had with Jim, regardless of what it was, and honestly with Ryan and with Matt, because I don't do it anymore. So the time that I got to spend, that little brotherhood that we had, I've always seen myself as a singles competitor, man. That was the first time I felt like I belonged to the team. You know what I'm saying? It's that was a big deal. But the Humidor. So yeah, I mean, to go back, not trying to keep it too heavy, but it was supposed to start with Chris Cannon, and then we got, like I said, possibly Justin was supposed to be involved, Lucas Chase, and then we got Big Jim as our final fucking big beefy boy, and that's what ended up happening, So, but yeah, so I was actually supposed to in the Tommy Dreamer line of the Humidor situation that we were going through, right after Tommy Dreamer, I was supposed to be going pretty much for the title against Marcos and all those guys, and okay. I took a step back. That was when I really started saying, hey, man, I think I got to slow down. And Jimmy understood. Of course, he wasn't the happiest. It's God damn it. That's one of our guys. We wanted to be one of our stars, which was really cool. But I had to take a step back, Yeah.
Now, all of that, thank you 1,000,000,000% for sharing that Humidor. Because believe me, Mr. Baker, not just myself, when they hear that story, I'm telling you, the fans that watch this shit are going to absolutely fucking love what we just talked about with the Humidor right there. And I just want to touch upon something else with the Humidor, if I may. Obviously, Big Jim passed. What are we going to do with the Humidor? Ryan Frost is there kind of a lonely soldier right now, because it was him and Big Jim as a tag team with Big Smoke, obviously, Following that, it was a minute, but they did get somebody else to come in that could represent, if you will. Yes. And not only represent the Humidor, but have a tie-in with Big Jim at the same token. That being one HVO, High Voltage Omar. And I don't know how much you paid attention or didn't, but have you seen that?
Couldn't have been a better dude for that. Honestly, I love Omar. Me and him. It's funny because like we've seen each other a handful of times. Like there's been enough times where we've now crossed paths in our wrestling world. But even when before we even met each other, it like we had a weird respect, even though we had never met each other. Like it was so kind of, it was funny because I was like, I know who you are. He's like, and I know who you are. And it turned into like, oh, what's up, man? And both bald fucking bearded guys just shooting the shit really is what it turned out to be. But I didn't know how close he was to Jim, to be honest with you, until after it was all said and done. And like when I saw the post, I'm like, wow, man, like I wish I had known. I would have. And I reached out to him, and we reached out to God. We talked after he passed and everything, and like reminisced a little bit. And there really couldn't have been a better guy to put him in the position of where he is, honestly. Like, I'm not just saying that to be nice. Like, that was the perfect choice to put in the humidor. I have nothing but love, man, for any of those guys. Like, really, like, there's a difference between, like, being in a brotherhood with people. Like, you got wrestling, and wrestling in itself is a brotherhood. It really is. You might fight, you might bicker. Some people are shitty. It just happens. It's a family. Sometimes you got to cut the fucking fat. Whatever. But those guys brought brotherhood to, like, I swear, like a whole new meaning for me in a lot of ways, and a lot of humbling ways, believe it or not. It's like I said, the whole ego thing earlier, I had it for a while. It was a good year and some change where I didn't realize it, but I did. And it was like my second year, maybe third year in, when I was really starting to catch some fire. I was like, okay, we're going to different states. We're getting booked here. We're doing this. And in my head, I was the most fucking important shit in the world. You know what I mean? Like, looking back, I'm like, this is just fucking make-believe world on my weekends. And I had to really bring that in. And but those guys, they were humbling in other ways, not just that. And it was like, it never felt like I was in it for me. It felt like I was in it for the humidor as a whole, and I want us to look good. I mean, like, I would be over there. I had a match with Dreamer, and the night I had a match with Dreamer, I'm pretty sure they went for the titles against the Hoods, and they ended up winning the titles that night. But I remember being more intrigued and like, oh, what are you guys going to do here? How are you going to call this? And I'm over here like Tommy Dreamer's like, so like, like I'm like, oh my bad, like I'm fucking jumping back and forth, and like he was a wicked Tommy Dreamer, probably the best dude I've ever been in a ring with, by the way. Side note, hilarious. I have a story afterwards for that, but man, so I was always like, I wanted to make sure my boys were good, and that was different for me, honestly, because again, as a singles competitor and having Squire, not anyone else really, right. Big deal. It was a big deal. So,
you, boys and girls, you can tell it comes from here with all of surrounding said humidor. And I'm going to touch on one more thing about that topic. Big Jim, there was a tribute show for him. Don't Spill the Whiskey. And it was comprised of 9 promotions.
Yes.
That came together for this one event, and it was absolutely fucking amazing. And I was honored and privileged to co-ring announce with Matt fucking DeCourt. Are you kidding me? But one of the absolute highlights, obviously me getting in that ring and doing, and just, again, having that honor of being asked to do that when I've never done that in my fucking life, was just so heart-touching.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but with all due respect, man, you are much, much bigger in this scene to people. Like, we care about you a lot more than you probably think we do. You help us, you give us a legitimate platform, and this isn't me anymore, because like I'm not wrestling, but and just, like, we're here now. You give us a legitimate platform to say what we need to say. Actually, you have been nothing but respectful to any worker that I've ever seen you with. You're not over here crossing lines thinking you can just go into fucking locker rooms. Like, you're not a self-important kind of person, which is a great thing in this kind of world. So I'm sure not just from me, but from everybody, we appreciate you. So like, that is something that you absolutely earned as well as deserve to do. Like, actually. So.
Oh, those beautiful words. I cry when my emotions get stirred up here like this, you know? So I love you for your beautiful words, my friend. Absolutely. Heartfelt. That kind of brings me to HBO coming out with a homage, if you will, the highlight. Yes. One of the highlights for me, a homage, if you will, to Big Jim, the black, the white suspenders, the boots.
I remember seeing the pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want a precursor before we get into that. I just want to say one more thing. I didn't make it to that show. And for anyone who knows why I didn't make it to that show, actually why I didn't make it to that show, thank you for being understanding. But for the people who don't know why I didn't make it to that show, for being someone as close as I was to him, That was when I was dealing with a lot of my anxiety and panic. I could barely leave my house at that point. And a lot of people don't know that about how bad it was for me, but it was crippling. And luckily, the people who did understand and know understood, and they were good with it, which is I can't thank enough, because obviously I could see how that looks from the outside looking in. One of his best buddies in the industry not being there. I wanted nothing more than to be there for anyone who was curious. I just couldn't. Mentally and physically, my body would not allow me to do it. But going back to that show, I saw so many pictures and so many videos and just beautiful things that, man, like that, just like the shots of whiskey, whatever. Like I saw all the stuff from behind it, like, man, I wish I could have been there. I really do. And like, but looking at all those things, especially we're talking HBO, and seeing him in the, in the suspenders and all that stuff, I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like if let's just say this, if heaven or hell is real, whether he's looking up or down, I'm just going to say I'm glad that he saw what he saw, if that is the case. And that's such a big deal. And you know what? At the end of the day, man, regardless if it does exist, if he's still around, the energy is there, and people still love and care about the guy and miss him. And it's funny going back to the suspender thing. I don't know if you guys know this. Actually, you wouldn't know this because this is all behind the scenes. So one day, one of our first days as Humidor, I got a new gear, and I wanted to do. I was like, oh, if I do like a button up, like a black button up, like cut off, and I do the tie. Oh, I was like, oh, I can get some suspenders. Jim's like, oh, you look like me. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean I look like you? Because I didn't even know. So he brings up a picture. I'm like, God, I was like, God fucking damn it. So I just went and got changed. It completely threw up the fucking thing. So I had the Big Jim attire without knowing I was Big Jimming it. Which was
oh my God.
Because I'm getting shit now from people in the locker room who know, like, oh, what's Big Jim? I'm like, Doc, I'm not doing this with you right now.
Oh,
it was so good. I remember that day clearly, because Jim's like, wow, it's like you're like a little me. I'm like, dog, fuck off.
Boys and girls, we're not going to hear these stories at the shows, at the events, buying a shirt, getting an autograph. These are the real stories in their real lives. Even if it's at an event, it's still one of these stories that one Mr. Baker just shared with us that we would never, ever be able to get unless we had his time and just sitting here and conversating about the times in wrestling. The times in wrestling. And I'm not trying to give you the bug at all. That's not what I'm trying to do.
I mean, I wouldn't be on this if I didn't have it at least a little bit. It's been on my mind a lot lately in general, and like I physically know I'm not ready to come back. I know there'd probably be people who are ready to fucking wring my neck if I came back, but to hell with you all, that's for you. And honestly, regardless of the case, like if I do ever decide to come back, it's going to be very selective and very minimal. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I want it to mean something for me, not even just for people. I want it to mean something for me.
I feel
real quick, do you mind if I take a little time out? I know we're recording. I'm sorry. I just got to.
No.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sing them a song or something, Kincaid. Sing them a song.
Oh, I was thinking of a little ditty to sing, but I don't really think they want to hear me sing, to be honest with you. But I will say, today, boys and girls, today is April 6, 2023, right? Not only are we spending some fine quality time with one of our favorite talents, one King Leon VI, FKA, but my grandson, Hunter, he's approximately 10 months old as we speak. And my guy stood up today by himself. Yeah, he grabbed onto the top of a basket, where the toys were in, but he grabbed onto that sucker. One leg was bent on the ground. One leg was trying to push up, and he threw a toy in there through the hole. So he figured the only way to get in there is to get his ass up and get that toy. My daughter got it on video today and sent it to me. I cried. I shared it with my father, my mother, Laura C., my sister, and a few other peeps. Oh my God, it was so absolutely precious, and she got it on video. Are you absolutely kidding me? That's my guy, Hunter. Love to see the firsts, especially when it comes to the grandbabies and stuff, because you never get those firsts back. We talk about getting firsts on here, the championships and the tag, and all the accolades and such. But
I'm back.
Getting the firsts of a promo, as we've spoken of before, a talent's very first interview. I was just talking about my grandson stood up for the very first time today. My daughter caught it on video. Hunter, my
That's
grandson,
awesome,
it was amazing.
That's got to be a big grandpapa moment. That's awesome,
Dude,
man.
it was awesome. Me and my dad at the same time were watching. So a grandpa and a great grandpa were watching our little guy, our big guy, Hunter, stand up for the first time. He scooted up with the basket. He gave it a little leverage, but a little shaky. You know, the left leg was
honestly, man, that's a huge point in any life. I remember when, my daughter, she's already knocked a few times, so I had to go take care of that. But I had to, yeah, I'm sure y'all heard that. But anyway, so I was like, what are you fucking doing? But I remember her, standing up for the first time, talking for the first time, all that shit, man. It's unreal. And like, obviously, you've already been through it once with your daughter, so now you hear you got with a grandkid now. It's like a whole other thing, so man, that's crazy, honestly. Like, it's so cool, like when you take away, I think this is important to like any wrestling fan or anyone who's a person should probably know. It's cool when you can just take away life things from like I met you through wrestling, but like taking away things from life in general is just really cool. Like it doesn't have to be wrestling related to be like that's super. Just I don't know, something about it. It hits me at home too. So.
Well, we were on the topic. Well, we being me. I kind of transitioned without even knowing it until you came back. We were talking about firsts since Hunter started kind of, stood up by himself today as a first. An accolade, getting an accolade. You can't take these firsts away. So getting it on film was absolutely amazing.
Right.
You can't take those accolades when you're a wrestler and you get your first title, maybe a first trophy or a rookie of the year or whatever the case may be. Talk to us about firsts, Mr. Baker.
I got to be honest with you. So I only did this for about close to 5 years overall, which you wouldn't think it feels like shorter, but it's weird. The time's an odd thing. But in those 5 years, man, I did a lot of really cool stuff. Like really, like I actually reflected a month and a half ago. I don't know if you guys remember him or not, but if you guys remember Bullet Joe, he's a good friend of mine. He actually stopped into my store to come say what's up with his daughter and his wife. And one of my probably best opponents I've ever had to date. One of my best friends in the industry when he was in like heavily, like me and him were like we were there together going.
For perspective to the fans that don't know of Bullet Joe, give us your bill weight at that time. And give us Bullet Joe's bill weight.
Sure. So height and weight, and this is legitimately. So okay, weighing in at the perfect amount of weight. It's not a real amount of weight, even though that's what King Leon weighed in at. Just want to throw that out there. That was his build weight. Was my build weight. But my actual weight at the time was probably about 290. I'd say 290, and I'm about 320 right now. So like I said, I've got some room. But like at 290, 285, I was probably at my best athletic height, and I'm about 6'2", 6'1", 6'2". Okay. Bullet Joe is about 5'1", 5'2", maybe, and because he actually does, maybe even shorter, might even be like 4'11", I'm pretty sure. Like he's right around there, and maybe 130 pounds soaking wet. So I want you to picture, for people who know like wrestling itself, I want you to picture Big Show or like how Brock Lesnar faced Spike Dudley all the time. That is literally what it felt like. Because we used to do some crazy shit. Like obviously everyone who knows me knows I did the Black Hole Slam as one of my big moves. It was a fucking beautiful one. Better than Jay Bricks's. Like I was definitely the best. So like he knows. So basically, like we had this really cool spot that we used to do where I'm sure people know you go for like a little satellite DDT thing where people will take a DDT, that's that. But instead we went from here to here to here to me throwing him back to black holing him here because of how soft he was. And it was awesome every time. Like we did it for multiple places because like this is a good spot, let's keep it. So like we would do that. And man, that kid was so talented. And I wish he hadn't gotten to his own. He did what I did. He got into his own head. He was so talented though. That kid had the makings of being really out there.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one who said that Bullet Joe is one of their favorite opponents.
One of the best, man. He was always such a great dance partner. Like, man, like we go in there and like, I think we had one match, but overall, me and that kid would put on fucking banger after banger after banger, and everyone loved our matches. And it wasn't even because of who I feel like it wasn't about characters. It was because me and him just had a general overall very good chemistry and connection with each other. And very, just a great kid. besides being in his own head. You know what I mean? Like he started to think of it a little too real, and I think that's where it got to That's where it got to be a problem. And but overall, sorry, going back to what we were saying, if I can even remember what the fuck we were saying at that point, because I'm rambling to ramble. So yeah, I have a lot of firsts that really just mean a lot to me. Actually, I got Rookie of the Year at multiple places, which I thought was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
As character alone, I was kidding me when I first got in. I didn't know how to punch a paper bag, like not even through one. I just couldn't punch one. Like it was bad. So like, and I knew I was not a good fucking wrestler at that point. Like I got a lot to learn, but my character let me stand on my own feet until I learned how to do it better. So I did it the wrong way, honestly, but like it worked. So I'll take it. And like winning, a place that I miss, and I think everyone who's ever went here or wrestled here or anything misses, Providence Wrestle Party. That place, Live Prov Wrestling, was a absolute just. It's like a shooting star, man. You're never gonna get that energy again. So you're never gonna. It's not happening. Like you'd be lucky to get one. That place. I won the Gansett Cup there, and which also I won their world title against Ashley Vox one night, which was, and we had a hell of a match. That girl's very talented too. But man, there's a lot of just cool first. That place really did a lot for me when it comes to my actual character building, my comfortability, honestly. Like I'm very comfortable in general in front of a crowd, but that place let me be something completely different in a great way.
Yeah.
And it's just because, the way that I could suplex somebody and people like, holy shit, instead of like having to do a fucking 850 splash off the 8th rope, shit like that doesn't get a pop nowadays. So with that place, it was just special because you could do a hip toss and people go crazy. You know what I mean? Like you can just like be like, you guys suck, and they go fucking nuts just for telling me you suck. Like stuff like that felt good.
It was a younger crowd. It was normally surrounding the alcoholic beverage. And the thing that I thought made it really special is, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, but let's take King Leon the Sixth character, over the top times 10, times 100, times 1,000. That's what Wrestle Party lets you do, live Prov.
So good.
They let you become a character of your choosing, if you will. So I give you boys, and we've used this as an example. One, Isana, the suplex sweetheart, she was a cat, and shit like that, and they would do fun like litter box references and shit like that, and Buff Dad would piss her off, and
I don't know if you ever saw any of the videos like the ones that went viral, but there was one that happened with there was two actually that happened with me, but one specific one that I thought was just fantastic looking back. So Bullet is involved here. It was me, Ronnie Ribs, haven't heard that name in a while, but me, Ronnie Ribs, the cat, or I believe it might have been Isana, but not the cat, but I think it was Isana, and I don't remember the fourth, but we had a fatal four-way going on. I'm not mistaken. Oh wait, no, I think it was a three-way, and then it got to a four-way. Anyway, we started as a triple threat, and me and Ronnie over here, like, we're the big bad heels, and everyone wants us, so like, let's just beat the hell out of her. Like, so we start moving, we start that up, and everyone's like, booing us, and then you hear over the loudest intercom a fucking doorbell, and Bullet is a pizza delivery man, has a legitimate pizza in his hand. They actually got a pizza for the like. Did anyone order a pizza? He's walking through the crowd. Everyone's like, we're just standing there. We're like, what the fuck's going on? Like, we know what's going on, but we're like, come on, man. There's a pizza guy now. So he gets in the ring and he looks at me. He's like, that's going to be $12.50. I'm like, $12.50. That's cute. So I take a piece of the pizza and I put it down on the mat and then I drop him. And so we're going here. Now, me and whatever, we're working. Just some bullshit that happened. That match was so good. And like, obviously, people were cheering him to fucking win. So everyone, it was like the ultimate underdog right there, and he got the win on me, and he got me with a double arm DDT thing that he was his finish at the time, like future shot kind of deal. Gave me the 1, 2, 3, and I had an idea in the beginning of the match. I was like, hey, I'm gonna tuck an actual 20 into my boot, take it from my boot when it's over, and show everyone that you got paid for the pizza. And he went fucking ballistic and just ran in circles around the ring and then ran out the door with the 20 in hand back to where his fucking car was.
Yes.
So good, man. And like that was just like a smaller version of like what that place was all about. And man, they knew how to make it just good. And I missed that. That was a first for me in its own sense of a place that I felt just utterly comfortable from day one. And man, this is what I'm talking about. The reminiscing part's getting to me. I'm like, fuck, like I miss doing some of this shit, man. I do. I miss booting people. I miss chopping people. I miss all that shit. Too fat right now.
I give you boys and girls an example, and this is a very, very minute, small example of King Leon VI. I didn't know King Leon a whole lot at this point. It was up at XWA. I'm with my dad, Papa Kincaid.
Oh, yeah, I remember that night actually.
And we're outside. It was during intermission, and some of the boys were outside of the door where they would walk into, not the main door, but their door. So the fans are walking out our door. Actually, yeah, it was definitely intermission because we were going for a smoke break. So King Leon VI happened to be one of those guys standing outside during intermission.
I do that a lot.
And my man said something about how I was wearing someone's shirt, probably Sully at that time or somebody in the vicinity of. You need to own some Royal King Leon VI merch. And I'm paraphrasing. I could never, ever do what he does. Believe me, boys and girls.
That's bad. Buy my shirt, buy my things. Your shirt looks ugly. Take my shirt. Yeah, there's something right along those lines.
And
like, honestly, something probably dead on right around those lines.
Yeah. Love that shit. My response was, I will definitely do that. I take a large. My man's response was, you wear a medium. And I'm like, my dad, he wasn't 72 at the time, but he was in his 60s. My dad almost had a fucking heart attack laughing so hard.
Shit, I forgot about that part. Yeah, no, I actually do remember that, though. That's so fucking funny. I actually remember the night I met you guys, oddly enough. I really do. And that was one of my first, I had just gotten into XWA myself. So a lot of that was very memorable for me. Because I had been working my ass off to get there, thinking it was the creme de la creme, which, again, it was still a big deal. At the time where, I'm like, oh, shit, I'm getting an actual chance to go to the show that people are, always wanting to be on. It's fantastic. Yeah. Weekly or not. And I actually remember meeting you guys there for the first time. Believe it or not, I remember you and your dad. I don't remember the schmedium thing, but I do recall that was not a doubt something I would fucking say. So, but it's probably because I didn't have any larges left in stock. So I was probably trying to sell you one fucking smaller shirt.
And I know when you're going through character, as we've spoken about evolution, if you will, like we were talking to characters, at that time, I remember it very vividly. You were wearing that really pristine white with the gold.
Oh, I think I still have those. Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
With just the very basic black strap. It was nothing crazy, I didn't have any intricate shit. I had the gold cape. Right. I always had the cape. I remember that because I bought that very early on. And that was probably my first iteration of that, gold crown with the fucking diamonds on it. I remember. Wow.
And one of my all-time favorite things of King Leon VI is he used to come with a squire for a hot minute. There was the material that these fucking
man.
There was a squire involved in this. He was his lackey, if you will. He was his squire. But one of my all-time favorite things that King Leon did to the squire, not the squire. Oh my God, does that piss him off?
He hated that. He hated that. No, seriously. Everybody who ever went with oh, are you gonna bring the squire? He's like, I'm just squire. I'm just squire. And he had to fucking shout it from the goddamn rooftop. I always felt so bad. Oh my God, you are technically the squire, though. What were you trying to make? I'm like, how do I justify this for the poor guy? I mean, by the end of it, people understood. Hey, no, he's squire. That's his name is squire. Yeah.
He did have to correct himself every single promotion he went to, every legitimate promotion he went to. But one of my favorite things, King Leon would get up on the apron, and the etiquette to get in the ring is to wipe your feet on the edge. Okay? Well, King Leon up the antes. We talk about over the top. This motherfucker would make Squire lean down and wipe his feet on Squire's back.
I gotta say, man, so a lot of people probably know me and Paul are not the best of friends anymore, unfortunately. Life happens, life gets in the way. It happens. We've talked, we're okay-ish, I guess. We were best friends for years. We'll never be what we are again. That's okay. That's life. But let me tell you, when we were as close as we were, and he was being Squire for me, and we were doing what we were doing, that man deserves a fucking medal because of the shit that he would go through. Like, honestly, so there was a point in time where he started getting chants, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why are we, and I'm like, I'm wrestling, and it made me realize he got them because of how much he literally deserved them at that point. His role, and like, it didn't really hit me until it was all said and done. His role could not be understated. The success of King Leon would not have been the success of King Leon without Squire, and vice versa. It just wouldn't have been. We were literally fucking peanut butter and goddamn jelly, and that's what it felt like. And like, you know what? It's funny that I just brought that up. There was one time I was in a locker room. Matt Stryker was there, and it was the time that I'm pretty sure it was before we wrestled, because I had the match with Stryker and Santino Marella. It was me and oh god, who was it? It was me and Richard Holiday versus Matt Stryker and Santino Marella. Okay. So fucking cool. But before that, Matt Stryker had done a thing for XWA prior, and he was doing things with Bob Whitney or Palladino, I forget, on commentary though. But he'd seen me and Squire together, and he came back after we were all said and done. He's like, "Hey, can I talk to you?" Like after, like when I was asking most, I was like, "Yeah, well, you and Squire have this weird thing." He's like, "You are literally like, you are spaghetti. You're still good alone." He's like, "But man, he's the Parmesan." He's like, "Look," and he literally did the whole hand motion like Matt Stryker. I'm like, okay, man. And then it's funny. So I was like, "Hey, do you remember you told me this?" He's like, "I'll be honest with you. I might have been high, but like, because everyone fucking smokes weed. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just one of those things where he's like, "I might have been high, but that does sound like something I'd say." I'm like, awesome. So like, it was just, oh, so good, man. So good. Like, yeah. Squire he was fucking fantastic.
Such good stuff, man.
What a good character. Seriously, like looking back, what a good character. Mm-hmm. Like that. It never. So again, I'm going to stick on this for one more second. It never really occurs to me, like, because I'm in my head, especially with where my brain was at that point, I was the important one, even though there's more to it, obviously. Because he's his own fucking person too. But at the time, I'm like, I'm the talent. That's my brain. I'm the talent. He's here to get me over more, which is the point of a manager, obviously. But it never occurred to me that we were both just very over people at one point. Like, we were both just very popular together, not just for, like, the whole act was popular, but people loved Squire for many different reasons and vice versa. And I'm like, it makes so much sense why. Like, again, this character was just fucking perfect. He was the perfect foil for what I was doing, because we were a heel-face dynamic in a team. And it was so good. Like, I was a shithead, and he would be okay with me being a shithead, even though he fucking loved people.
Give me these three things. And many other fans, not all of them, because a lot of them, they're in that modern, have to, as you said, the 850s and such on a regular basis. I'm not that guy. I'm an old school guy. My guy is Don Morocco. That's my guy.
Okay.
So give me these three things: character, story, decent in ring. Okay. The goddamn storytelling that you and Squire were doing together, along with the characters, were just, I know you can't see it, dude. I know you can't see it, but son of a bitch, you guys really had the chemistry. You got the stories, the characters, the promos. Jesus Christmas, the promos.
Yeah, that was definitely our strong suit. I'm more than aware of that. More than aware.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to, kind of stick on this subject, but it is one of them peanut butter jelly spaghetti Parmesan kind of deals, though. I mean, for real.
Yeah. And, you're right though. Like, looking back, we had like a lot going on, which, like, there was a point in time where I was like even curious. Like, again, even with the ego that I was having for a while, I'm still a person, and I'm still like, oh, but I don't think I belong here. Why am I here? Why am I getting this opportunity? What is, and like, I still had my doubts, just like anybody else would, I'm sure. Ego or not, it turned into, it made me with Squire made me realize, like, wow, we're doing something special, whether people want to realize it's special or not. You know what I mean? Like, I thought about it in the sense of, like, longevity reasons. Like, whether people remember us or not, I'll never forget this in my life. Neither will he. Like, this is a moment that I will always hold on to. I'll be fucking 80, fucking dead in the ground. Like, that's something that I will remember for the rest of my life. That was a huge part of my life. Those 5 years meant so much to me. And, like, it can't go understated. Like, it does hurt me a little bit, to be honest with you. There are some people out there who I wish didn't see me in the light they do, but I understand why they do. And at the end of the day, like, again, we're all people. We all make mistakes, and I'm okay with that. Like, I accept what it is. But regardless of all that, I just think about all the other good shit that happened with wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, the bitterness, like I said, is worn off a lot. And it made me really see, like, the storm's over, so here's the rainbow part of it. And, like, I'm really seeing a lot of, like, what made wrestling special to me at first. And I think that's really cool, you know, because I grew up loving wrestling. And I know everyone has the same story, and it feels so heartfelt when everyone says it. But, like, from my perspective, it was huge to me. It was what got me out of my funks as a kid. It's what got me out of my, you know, I was a fat little shit. I got bullied at school. It who made me happy, you know, things like that though. Like, me, really, you hold on to long haul. You know, those are core memories, man. And you know, I'm getting real fucking heart pulley with all this shit, but man, I this is how I feel right now. You know, I'm very, very grateful to even have the 5 years that I had in the fucking ring, man. Like, that was just cool to me. You know, I got to live out a childhood dream, whether I got to WrestleMania or not. I got to fucking wrestle some names that I watched on TV as a kid. I got to fucking meet some great people that I will never forget in my life. You know what I mean? It's really cool. So, yeah.
One of the talents out there you've already mentioned in passing. I really wanted to bring this guy up because on the old face page, you and him have some kind of fucking weird relationship going on. I don't know what in the holy fuck is going on over there with the bays and the booze and the stuff. But one Jay Bricks, you do a better black hole slam than he does because he 100%. Says his is way better than yours, and vice versa, and vice versa, and vice versa. What the fuck is going on there?
All right, so Jay is one of the dudes who I stayed in contact with after I got out of wrestling. In fact, me, him, and Elijah Six, not as much as we used to, but we play Apex Legends together. Like, we play on fucking Xbox. We'll talk. We'll shoot the shit. He sends me TikToks all the time. Like, we shoot the shit in general when we get a chance to. He was one of the first people to visit my store when it opened. He visited from Connecticut. Like, Jay's a great dude, but he needs to get out of his head that he has the best black hole slam in New England. Okay, like, so here's the fucking greatest part about all that, and I think this is actually a new story. This just happened maybe a couple months ago. So, at the benefit for our buddy Alex Rojas, you know, hope he's doing well, obviously. I actually got a hold of Alex, and I saw what was going on with him, and obviously hoping him a speedy recovery and everything that's going on. But I saw that he was dealing with, you know, his cancer, and he was doing a benefit for said cancer, and was looking for sponsorships. So I've been doing pretty well at the store, truthfully. So I have a little extra expendable money, which is nice. So I gave him, shot him a message. I was like, hey, what's it going to cost to sponsor stuff? So I sponsored 2 matches. I sponsored Eli's and I sponsored Jay's.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So Eli, because he's my boy, you know, no other reason besides, hey, let's sponsor this man's match. He's a great talent, great dude. You know, I respect him a lot too. He's got a bright future if he keeps going with what he wants to do, honestly. But Jay is another story. Jay is, he's my boy, but that man needs to get put in fucking check from here to there, okay? So what's happened was, you know, we fuck with each other a lot. We shit on each other a lot. Like, there was a funny story about a girl he was seeing, and she's like, who's your funny friend? And I'm like, I'm the funny. Like, we're just talking. Like, I've been giving him shit about taking his girl for years, like, even though it's not even his fucking girl anymore. But, like, anyway. There's been a running joke between him and I know it's more of just, it's for fun. Like, oh, my black hole slam is definitely better than yours, Jay. Like, you fall on your goddamn stomach, you lazy slow. Like, shit like that, you know. We fuck with each other like that. So, being able to sponsor said man's match, we've been battling over this for years. He finally admitted defeat. No matter how much he wants to put it up, he admitted defeat to me through message. I have proof, if anyone wants to ask, that I won. He's like, you win, you got it. And the reason why is because I texted Alex. I'm like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you introduce Jay Bricks as the man with the second greatest black hole slam in New England? And Matt DeCourt sure the fuck did during the show. So that is on video. That is on tape. It is proof, and I can't do anything about that anymore. And he literally, if you see the video, you see Jay look back like what the fuck did he say? Kind of like, and he just kept doing his thing. And he hits me up the next day. He's like, you son of a bitch. You fucking got me, you son of a bitch. Like, that was so good. I can't. He's like, you win. Like, that's it. You win. And so, no, one really good dude, man. I fucking love Jay. I would be there. And you know what? I'm gonna spill it here first. If I ever get back into a ring, ever, him and I are a tag team. That's what's happening. It's going to be King Ebony Leon versus Jay Ivory Bricks. And we're going to be Ebony and Ivory. I'm Ebony, he's Ivory, and we're going fucking off comedically. We don't care. I'm not joking. This is very real. Take this as you will. If I ever get in the ring again, that's happening. Mark my fucking words. Mark my words.
Don't make me change the title to that.
Mark my words. Okay, like that's already been that's already been a discussion between us. It's going to happen whether he likes it or not. I'll book myself on shows and I'll shoot on his matches. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'll fucking do it. We're going to be that tag team. And we're coming out to Ebony and Ivory, obviously. Like, that's what's
of course. Why not? Of fucking course.
Oh. Man. Oh, man.
We've been talking for a smidge over an hour. It feels like we've been talking for about 15 minutes or so.
For real, yeah.
A little while back, we were talking NWWE. You mentioned, and I'm giving a call back. You mentioned you had a little story about Tommy Dreamer. If you could share with us, the fans.
Oh yeah, this is a fun one. So it wasn't anything crazy, obviously. So first time we ever get into the ring, he doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. He's Tommy Dreamer. I'm me, whatever. And we go through our match, and the match was honestly very solid. We had a great match, and he was like, I was like, hey, do you mind if I black hole slam? He was like, no, I don't know. He's like, I don't know how you work yet. I'm like, okay, I respect that. You don't want to get hurt. No, you're an older dude. I get it. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I respect you. You're the fucking vet here. I'll do whatever the fuck you want to do, obviously. And we did it. We had a great match. The match was actually awesome. You know, towards the end of it, it was all great. He, when we got done, was like, wow. He's like, you know, that was really good. Like, great job. Seriously. Great. I'm like, oh, man, thank you so much. He's like, no. He's like, hey, if I ask the promoter, do you mind if we work again next month when I come back? I'm like, that would be fucking awesome. Are you kidding me? Yes. So he's the reason we had the rematch. Literally, he gave it to, I'm like, this feels so cool. Like, this is a good, like, like, this feels awesome.
Wow.
And so he comes back. And so that night, it was me versus Tommy Dreamer. If I'm not mistaken, that's how it went. Or was it the second night? Either way, we had a match. And I don't know if that was the tag, but I think we got together 3 times total. I'm going to keep rambling. Anyway, we had our second match. And we're in the ring. And now he's comfortable with me. So we're getting comfortable. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll take this. We'll do this. Like, we'll just fucking go crazy. Like, I was like, yeah, I'll pile drive a goddamn chair and I'll go out the ring. Like, we were gonna have a good time this match. Like, we already talked about. We're in the ring. He's like, all right, rest hold. So if I could snap Mayor's ass, put him in a headlock, and we're on the mat. And we're just talking. And I was like, all right, so we're going to work up. He's like, you know, can we talk in a minute? I really got to shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So, like, he's trying to make me break. He's like, no. He's like, I don't think you understand. He's like, I'm going to shit, man. You got to stop squeezing. I'm going to shit. Like, and we're just working up. And I'm trying to, like, to hold him like, this fucking guy, I swear to God. I swear to fucking God, we're working up. And I'm, like, trying not to fucking laugh. As Black Blade, keep in mind. So I got to be kind of slow. Now we're like, I'm going to fucking crack. He's going to make me crack. He's just like, and then I hit him with the fucking shoulder block. He's like, I still got a shit, like looking up at me. I'm like, fucking God. So I hit him. And it was like just a constant throughout the match. I'm like, he almost got me. So that's just a fun Tommy Dreamer story. He likes to talk shit literally when he's in fucking rest hold. But yeah. Oh man, great time.
I am to hear when the talents are in conversation or speak of one Tommy Dreamer. There's never, yeah, that guy was an asshole to X person or that guy. Always good words.
You know, I could sit here, like I said, and say enough bad shit about other people, but that's not how I want to be anymore, if I'm being honest with you. But I'll say I will promote the good people left, right, and fucking center all the time. Tommy Dreamer is a goddamn gem to the wrestling world. He really is. You know, he was so good to me. Like in terms of working, he gave me like he doesn't have to. He's fucking Tommy Dreamer. He could be like, no, I'm gonna hit you with the pop, pop, pop. Give me the dusty. Hit this. Do that. He can do whatever he wants to fucking do. And what are you gonna say? No. You know what I'm saying? Like he could be that guy, but he's not. He's very giving. He's like, no. He's like, put the heat on me. Like really make it count. Make it do this. Like, oh, let's go out the ring. Throw me into the guardrail. Like he's calling these shots for me. He's like, oh, suplex me onto the ground. I'm like, okay, like. These are his calls, not me doing it. It's him. I'm not going to call fit to him unless like the only thing I say to him when we were moving around, like, hey, move to the next buckle. Like we just move around so I can fucking work to where we need to be. That was it. But overall, this man's calling his shots, saying no, like fuck me up a little bit. I'm like, cool, all right, if that's what you really want. But that came from the trust aspect, obviously, from after our first match.
Right.
And you know, like that guy, like he's a gem. Like he's one of the best things I think. Like when it comes to going in the ring with somebody, like I said, I've been in the ring with a couple pretty big names, I feel like overall. Like Tommy Dreamer, I went with Just Incredible. We had a tag match with him, which was great. You know, very good dude. All problems aside, I hope nothing but the best for that man. Seriously, like I know he's going through his own shit, which we've all had our shit, and he was just such a sweetheart. He really is. Then you got, Santino. Santino, same thing. Fantastic fucking person. He was like, no, let's try this. Let's do this. Like, it's going to get it. And he was right. He's right. And you follow the lines of these people who just want to make the business better for what the business is and not to get their own shit in. You're great. And he's one of those guys. Tommy Dreamer is one of those guys, 100%, that'll make you fucking look so good if you love him.
It's just so amazing to hear, though, especially as a fan. I mean, it had to probably surprise you even more being in the ring with him and him saying, suplex me outside of the ring. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? No, really, just do it.
Yeah.
This is a guy who was an ECW in the 90s, boys and girls. In the 90s, and he's still doing these kind of things.
Yeah, that man is a man of the business, straight up. Him, Gangrel, same idea. Man of the business. Like, okay, so fun fact, not really fun fact, but between me and his match, me and Gangrel's match was supposed to go longer. I got injured mid-match, which unfortunately cut short, but I was already, honestly, going into the match, my knee was already fucked up, and I knew that. And I told him before, I'm like, hey, my knee may give out. Like, I'm feeling it. It's rough. It may give out, but I'm not trying not to do the match. They got to a point where I could barely stand, unfortunately, in the match, and we had to cut it short. But like that sucked. But like it is what it is. He was understanding. He wasn't upset about it. He was like, nope, I get like that. Take you first. And there's people like that, man, that make this business worth it. Because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of seriously. There's a lot of selfish people. I've been one of them. Like there are a lot of them, and I don't blame them for being selfish because you have to be to an extent because there's a lot of sharks in these waters, man. There's a lot, and I'm not going to name any specifics, but like some of your favorite faces might be some of the worst people you ever meet. And that's all I'm gonna fucking say. That's just how it is. And
well, I have heard sentiments as such,
right.
Which kind of brings me to I've been asked to do commentating, be the mean gene of X Place, ring announcing, valet, manager, referee. I've been asked to do multiple aspects of the business, and I can't even count how many fucking promotions at this point.
Fair.
And I've always said no. And they always seem surprised that I always say no. Because I feel on their end of it, if there's a fan that is so into it,
right.
He's one of those guys that'll really want to jump into it because he's got a little personality that we're looking for, or he's got the gift of gab like he's on cocaine,
Yeah.
So I've always said no for a very specific reason. And I guess I'll have to just use the word freelancer, because when I go from promotion to promotion to promotion, from state to state to state, and I'm not saying I do all the shows I used to, I've definitely pulled back, but I've never wanted to get caught up in, hey, why are you working for that promotion? Or
you are a very, very smart man to do that. I'll say that. You are a very smart man to do that and realize that before you went and did it, because there's a lot of people who want to be involved, and that's okay. Being involved is great. If you have something to give, what you do, you have something to give to the community. But the fact that you can do it from the outside and still enjoy it as a fan and not have to see the drama, see what the people for what they really are, is a very, very good veil. I'll be honest with you. Like you're smart to say no. And I'm not saying, again, there are some amazing people in this wrestling world, man. There are some beautiful people, just amazing people. But there's also just some shitheads because it's life. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to shit on the business because
I don't think you are at all. That's not what I took away from that whatsoever.
Yeah, no. And just disclaimer, if you will. I always try to lift up promotions and talents. That's why we do what we do here. But I just didn't want to be pulled in directions,
Yeah, that's fair. So I will say I think it's fucking ridiculous. Like, and this is for anyone, I don't care who's listening. I think it's ridiculous that people think that if you work here, you can't work here. When you are your own goddamn person on these weekends, and honestly, most of the time you get into this because you love a business and you love the idea of what wrestling is. And a lot of people, again, including myself, get so goddamn jaded by what it is, and it becomes such a real thing. There was a point in time where it was so hard to differentiate Stephen Baker and King Leon. There was no difference. I was the same thing, And it's scary because I didn't think I was that kind of person until I became that person. But I'll tell you, it's crazy to me to think that these people think that you can work here but not work here, but you can't do this. Who the fuck are you? Are you paying my goddamn bills? No, you're giving me 50, 60 bucks maybe, and maybe some gas. You know what I'm saying? Like I got so lucky, honestly, in my years of wrestling that I got paid well when I got paid. Because I fucking made it. I'm like, hey, my time is worth this. If you do not want to pay this, I will respect that. I hope you nothing but the best. This is my fucking rate. And luckily, people respected that most of the time. Because unfortunately, there were a lot of people who didn't respect their time and got $20 paydays. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where at the end of the day, if you're not paying my bills legitimately, if you do not have me under contract, if you are not giving me a goddamn salary, you're not going to tell me where to work. If you want me to work for you, but you say I can't work somewhere else, with all due respect, I'm not going to work for you, and I'm going to work at that other place because they will probably let me work wherever I want. That's how it is. Because I'm also a freelancer in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Just because we're wrestlers and there's a community of it does not mean you are stuck with where you're stuck. If I ever come back to wrestling, I'm being so selective. So selective. I will go to probably New World Wrestling Extreme. I'll probably do TOS because I respect the fuck out of Slick. And obviously, if he'll have me, there's like maybe 2 or 3 places I would see myself again. Tops. So, and that's just out of respect for me and respect for what I see, where I envision myself in general. So,
nothing wrong with that, especially if you're going to come back and be maybe just a few matches or such.
Yeah,
so you kind of want to be.
It won't be an overall. I'll say this: even if it's like twice a month, let's say it gets to that point, I will probably not go higher than twice a month, depending on what I'm offered or what I'm, being a part of, I should say. Because if there's a storyline, money isn't everything. I'm doing honestly, I'm doing fine. Money is not everything. I want my character protected. I want my story to be protected. I want me to be protected because I respect me and I expect respect from someone who's taking me in to be this thing, regardless of where I'm going. There's so many times, there's a lot of empty promises in wrestling and shit like that, but it's as simple as, hey man, just respect what I've put my work into, like my character, and I will do everything I can for your company to make it work the best I can.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not trying to, stir the pot.
No,
you're good. If a promoter cannot see from anything that you've ever produced, promo-wise alone, not even having to watch a match, a move, anything at a fucking event, just a promo alone. If a promoter can't see the effort and the time and the creativity capitalized, if you cannot see that and want to, and again, I'm not a booker, I'm not a promoter, I'm a fan, and I don't know how to read all of the shit, and I don't know the business. Yeah. But son of a bitch, this motherfucker's putting in extra effort just in the promos alone. Imagine what he's doing in fucking ring.
I never understood why people just wouldn't do promos for shows. Like, you don't even understand the amount of probably messages that I've been in, like this show coming up. You get in a group message with a bunch of the workers. Hey, we still need promos from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm like, dog. I'm like, how are you guys just not even? I'm sorry. Even if you got to do it in your car, as shitty as they are, be like, hey, this is this person. I'll see you at the Elks. Like, it's not that hard, man. Like, I just don't understand how you don't want to put promos out there because they're probably one of the most important things you can do. Shit, I got booked in New York in multiple companies because of, I'm not going to say his name because he's a piece of shit now, but like an undesirable I did a video with, and it was one of my Disney videos, and someone in New York saw it because they shared it and stuff like that, and a bunch of people shared it, and they're like, who the fuck is this guy? I got booked in New York and Pennsylvania for that, like just from a goddamn promo. You know what I mean? Like from an afternoon of work. And that's the shit that's going to keep people going and keep people intrigued. I tell people this all the time, and I wish that I had really listened to Jose before about this, but moments mean so much more than the moves. Like, they really do. Because I was over, and there was a point in time where I'm like, oh, I'll throw this pump kick, and you can spin me back, and we can do, like, I was doing the whole thing too. But I think that's just because you get stuck in a loop. You're like, oh, I got to do this, because that's what getting the pops for this match, so why won't I do that? I want to be, that's where you get. But, like, looking back, man, I wish I had listened to Jose a little more. I'm going to say it again. The moments mean so much more than the moves. Like, even the promos, dog. The promos got me more recognition than any of my moves ever would because of the just being able to remember what they were. And like, same thing with I had a match with Kellen Thomas, one of my best friends, literally loved the fucking guy. We still hang out to this day. we had a match at XWA. It was a goddamn what was it, Secret Santa match, basically, where we had a bunch of people who had presents in the crowd that were given to them, of course, but like wrapped presents. And we unwrapped them and like would beat each other with them. When a bell rang, you got to unwrap a new present. And like we would hit each other. It was like one of those. It was awesome. It was awesome. And we had a moment in the match that I will never forget. And I have a video somewhere. I got to send it to you one of these times if I remember to find it.
Please.
We had lightsabers. The lights went out. Shit got blue and red. I had the red lightsaber. He had the blue one. And Star Wars theme played. We had a lightsaber battle in the middle of a match. Like, legit, we choreographed it and everything. And then by the end of it, I stabbed him with my lightsaber. The lights went off. I said, "I got you, Riot." Blah 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 blah. You ha! And he's like, fucking backhands me. The loudest stab you've ever heard. And I just fucking dropped. And it was perfect. That's a moment. Like everyone that got shared for like a month between like people I knew. I'm like, this is what it's. They'll remember that. So good, man. Like shit like that is like what really matters. Like that's what really fucking matters now. Seriously. Moments really do matter. It took till I was out to really understand it, but
we always talk about that on STP, my man. The fans, when we're driving home with the peeps we've gone to the shows with, we're talking about that. There ain't no way some of those fucking fans did not drive home talking about that lightsaber fight. You know what I'm saying?
100%, 100%. And that was the thing. Like, you know what? It was because me and Kellen went out to karaoke that night and got drunk. So like we went out and we saw some of the fans at the bar because we were friends with a few of them. So we know they knew we were there. They're like, guys, that was like that was it. Like that was fucking awesome. And like got shared, like I said, for weeks. Like there was the one year of it came up. I remember a bunch of people shared it. Like, holy shit, remember this night? Like they wouldn't have done that if it was just me doing a black hole slam to the fucking guy. You know what I mean? That, I mean, regardless of how cool of a move it is in the moment made it. You know what I mean? Like, man, that was so fucking cool.
That reminds me of spinning back to live prov, if you will. Yeah. You were talking about the Bullet Joe pizza delivery guy thing. If I'm not mistaken, Fred Durst showed up there.
Oh, yeah, right? Greg Durst, actually. Greg Durst. Right. Yeah, so Fox Vineyard, whose real name is Greg. A lot of people, I'm going to say this right now, he's a very polarizing man as a person because of how he is as his personality. Okay. I fucking love that man. I actually spoke to him today. So like I still talk to him as well.
Oh, wow.
I love Fox Vineyard. That man gets way too bad of a rap. Fantastic human being, honestly. Regardless of how he comes off, so you know how he can be. But and I've told him that myself. I'm like, Doug, chill the fuck out. So like but he knows. But anyway, so yeah, he was Greg Durst. Because that was his nickname. And he came out and we got together before the show even started and got lunch together. We were just talking about like, hey, what do you want to do tonight? Because we knew we were going to be part of the same thing. He's like, well, let me go in and we go, yeah, and like just do a bunch of like Fred Durst fucking noises, and I'm like, okay, so like literally just like I was like, name some big hits. I don't know if you remember the spot or not, or if you remember the match at all, but there was a moment in said match where in the beginning he had a thing of water and there was a hot dog, so his hot dog flavored water, of course, you know, for like Fred Durst. Took out the hot dog, jammed it in my mouth, and I was like here like pretending I was choking. We did the kids in play dance just for him to fucking turn me around, whip me into the corner, splash me, and me fucking spit the hot dog up. Like, and it definitely landed on someone. But like, it was just fucking, man, this shit like that matters, man. Like, and I remember those things. You know what I mean? I don't remember the shine or the comeback of that match, but I remember that spot, and that's even from the person who was in it. But man, yeah, so cool. So cool.
I bring it up, my friend, because of the moments. Yes. All right. And seeing you tell the story, but not tell the story, boys and girls. He tells these stories that you could rewind and watch this hour and almost a half. Oh Every time he tells a story, and I know he's on a hiatus, and they walk away for specific reasons, usually multiple.
Yeah.
But when he tells these stories, boys and girls, it's with that beautiful fucking smile. You can see that wrestling still touches his life, but you just gotta do what you gotta do at times. Okay.
You do. You know, that's the thing that sucks about all this. But I do need to take a step. I needed to take a step back for my own mental health, and so that I didn't despise wrestling for the rest of my life.
Right. Now, let's kind of go to the topic of, it's been a couple years since we've chit-chatted. And you've been doing the gaming thing, which we're coming back to. I know we said I said I would an hour and a half ago, but we're gonna get there. Are you still watching the product that is coming out on TV?
Yeah, yeah. So, and up until recently, not as much. But like, I gotta say, man, the fucking Bloodline is just the greatest thing to happen to wrestling in literally like 20 fucking years. Like, actually, it's been that long. I feel like CM Punk might be the closest thing from like his first run that I think might even like. I don't even think the Yes Movement has anything on shit like this. Like the longevity and the absolute fucking beautiful storytelling of what they are doing with that character work.
Yeah.
I can't sit and say enough good things about it. Of course, you're gonna go online, you'll see this like, oh, it's overdone, it's this and that. Man, when's the last time that you can say this man has a legitimate chance if they really wanted to keep the title on him? They'll let him break Bruno's record. They will.
Mhm.
If this is the kind of guy, Roman Reigns, I fucking despise the man. A lot of people did because like being trying to be shoved down people's throats as a face. I'll say this: I was always a huge fan of that man when he was a heel in FCW. He was a great heel in FCW. So when they brought him up as a face, and I remember when he first debuted, was against he fucking triple powerbomb Ryback, what CM Punk won. It was in like 2000 something 12 or whatever. I remember all that shit. And now we're here like 10 plus years later, and this man fucking throwing his ones in the air with his actual fucking family, which is amazing too. Like that's just got to be something cool for them anyway. But just an absolute juggernaut of a megastar. Like actually, like there's no one like him, and there's no one that can compare to that man right now. And like, yeah, he might be fucking just Roman Reigns, but that man has just the energy and the aura that surrounds that man when he fucking comes out nowadays is like unbeatable. And I am okay with him holding this fucking title for another 4 years. I literally am.
And as Mr. Baker was saying, it's not always about the moves, and that's what makes this whole Bloodline thing really work, because obviously there's a jillion freaking moving parts to this.
Of course.
But I'm gonna take all the moves, all the matches, the chair shot from Sammy. I'm taking all of that away, and I'm gonna go to this: Paul Heyman's facials, Jay's facials, Jimmy's facials, Sammy's facials, Roman Reigns facials. It just all of their expressions when the time calls for puzzled. Roman Reigns is a fucking master.
So, did you watch Raw by chance?
I did.
Okay. So, did you see when Brock Lesnar came out, the look on Roman's face and Paul Heyman's face? It literally went from like him being all.
Yep.
Like what? Like like he was actually like why is this happening? Like it was like such a good. The facial expressions make the world a difference, man. In every capacity. Look, if I'm in the ring, let's just put this into perspective. Let's just say let's say it's a match for a perfect example. We're gonna go into like dig a little deeper on the fucking wrestling side of it. If I'm over here and I'm throwing a punch at you, right? Bang, whatever the case is, and you're just going, meh, like that doesn't make me look fucking good. But if you're over here fucking snapping, like, oh my god, like and like really selling those shots, people are like, oh, that dude's throwing hammers, even if they're just fucking these. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's just fucking those. And those little expressions, that little extra, which Roman gives, and which all those guys give now, makes the story 10 times better. Just because you can see it in their goddamn face, and you can see it with what they're selling on their bodies. Jay is the best thing to happen in this whole story. Like I love Roman, I love all those guys, but Jay is the best thing of the story because the man is so conflicted, and everyone knows he's conflicted, except for himself, and he sells that so well. That's the best part about what I'm seeing here.
And I know we've been on this Bloodline as a topic of the current product. Yes, there are other accolades within the juggernaut being WWE, and yes, there are other stories that have been told, but nothing has captivated the fans as such in a very long time. And I mean, seeing Ripley come out as a champion on this off of WrestleMania, that's something cool as a fan. But the Bloodline thing is just something in its own island of relevancy.
It is, man. It really is. Like I know all puns and jokes aside. There's nothing. And like here's the thing. Part of me thought Cody would win at Mania because of the fact, yes, it is the story. It's a feel good of the fucking century. But you know something? Cody doesn't need it. As crazy as that sounds, like I know like it'd be a great fucking thing for him to get, but Cody made himself. He didn't need WWE to make him. Now WWE is just there to elevate him. And he's going to have these great stories, hopefully, and like continue to go. But the thing about what's happening right now with Roman and the whole thing, Cody wasn't that guy, because Cody, with all due respect, as great as he is, he may be up here, but Roman is still just here. It makes no sense to drop the title here and let them be here instead of here. You need someone who can go up. Like, the problem with Roman right now, the actual problem, is that he doesn't have an equal. He doesn't. And he's about, even Brock Lesnar is not his fucking equal, like, anymore. Roman Reigns is literally in a class of his own in the best possible way. But it's also scary because you need to build someone up to be where he is, or you're fucked. Or you're fucked. Because then that's all that means is ratings drop, and they know that.
Well, you know, it could. You just never know with the merger of WWE and UFC. It could be Roman Reigns in an octagon one of these days, going against Shoosh Boy or something. You just never know what's going to happen.
I think so. I think that's where it really comes down to, man, is like at the end of the day, I think that what's happening in WWE is really fucking cool. I hate that Vince is back in charge because I'm sorry, he doesn't have it anymore. I don't care what anybody says. I know it's like, but he's always been there. He just doesn't have the fucking, Triple H is the best thing for business right now, and they're not letting it happen correctly. They're just not. But other than that, I will say, because I have to get going soon. I'm sorry. Now I've been on my phone for a minute there. I was like trying to get some shit done. But
no, that's okay. That's okay.
I want to say this to anyone out there, and obviously I'm sure this will be fine with you. I don't want to assume, but I will assume it anyway. We can do a part 2 of this because I sure have a shit ton more to say anyway. An hour and a half or not, I got way more to say, I'm sure. So we can definitely do that again soon if you'd like, obviously. But regardless, I want to say before you do your whole sign off and you do anything like that, I really appreciate this a lot. From an actual like human to human standpoint, not because it's wrestling, not because of this. It's just nice to actually have a platform that I can sit here and talk to my used to be peers and people who I may see again in the future, or maybe maybe not. But like either way, it's good to have this as a way to like just say what I got to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sure next time I'll have way more to say, and maybe I'll say worse things. I don't fucking know. But like, I mean, for right now, I'm happy with how this went. I'm very happy you let me on here to say what I had to say, and I appreciate you a lot. So seriously, thank you.
Absolutely, my absolute pleasure, my man. That's what we like to do, is give a platform. I don't like to do the shoot stuff with that gets me pulled in separate directions. So you were honest and open, but still professional at the same time, and I appreciate you not doing the rants and whatnot and mentioning names and
not worth it.
All of that madness. Before I do let you go, and I know you got to go, let's swing back to the gaming.
Yes.
Ryan Frost, I said it, I meant it. He's looking for some royalty checks. Ha! See what he did there? Royalty checks. Please, before I would be.
No, you're good. I'm not like rushing. You're fine. I'll definitely have a moment. You're good. I just want to let you know I just have to call it soon. But so Ryan Frost is one of probably the best people in this industry. That man deserves the goddamn world. If you're a promoter, you should give it to him. If you ever listen to this, I'm serious. He deserves it. He will work his ass off for you until the fucking end of the world. Side note, but Ryan Frost, I was looking for a name for my game store when I first opened it last year. So I was like, oh man, what route do I go here? Because I had a lot of stuff still left over from being the king, including the throne and stuff like that, which is now in my store, by the way, which is fantastic. Looks awesome. That's all I'm saying.
And you were trying to sell that at one point.
I was, because I was like, why the fuck do I need this thing anymore? So yeah, I'm glad I didn't. Honestly, I'm glad I didn't. And there was a point. I'm like, what do I fucking call this? Like, oh, do I just go like royalty game, like bullshit like that? And like, I was even trying to go the royal route. And Ryan Frost goes on my fucking status. One of the first comments says, "The King's Court Gaming," and everyone loved it. Like there was like 12 fucking thousand million likes on. I'm like, well, I guess that's fucking it. And like that's all good. Now he expects royalty checks for giving me a goddamn name. That's all I'm saying. So, but yeah, no, it's super fucking funny to me.
And the King's Court going well for one Mr. Baker.
Yeah, no, very well. It's been a little bit of a lull lately just because I think of what the time of year is. This happens, honestly. There's new sets coming out, so a lot of people are saving their money for some of the new shit. Anyway, overall, very much so. The first year was successful. I'm not going to get into too many details, but I got almost into to 6 figures, which was great for my first fucking year. Wow. I'm fucking ecstatic about that. So, like, that was awesome. crazy to think how life just happens. You know what I mean? Like really crazy to think how life just kind of fucking happens. So that's what I'm saying. You never know when you'll see me. Maybe you'll see me in a ring again. Never know when the fuck life's gonna happen. So that's kind of where it's at. But, yeah. So
one more solid question before we get a little deets from you. Please tell me there's been at least one gaming night where, you know, some of the boys and girls have gone up and really like pulled up, as the kids say.
So I haven't seen many of the boys and girls. I'll say that much. I have not. But I will say the people who have shown up, like honestly, like I said, I had Bullet Joe pop in one night. Like a lot of these guys don't just game like the way, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they don't have the ability to just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go play some games when they don't even know how to play these games. So I don't blame them at all for that. But like I've had a good handful of the boys and girls pop in, and not a lot of them, but enough of them where I'm like, and they're the people I care about. So I know that it's a mutual thing. So like, you know, Bullet Joe popped in with, like I said, his wife and kid. Kellen stopped in about a month ago, like, what's up, dog? Like just hanging out. Nice. Fucking Jay Bricks, like I said, was there the first weekend. Fucking Lou, Mr. fucking Doc Shady, also one of my very good friends outside of this, like one of my very good friends, popped up for my Halloween costume contest last year when I was still doing it as Dr. Frankenfurter. So I'm just going to put that out for what it is. And they had the thong thing, but they wore shorts because they knew it was a game store. So I'm going to fucking say. But man, the people that have shown, and that's important to me. That's it's funny, man. Like I look back, like I said, and there was a point in time where like I cared so much, honestly, what people thought about me, what my appearance looked like to people, what I was to this, blah 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 blah. Why do I care? You know what I'm saying? Like looking back, like muted all these fucking things. Why did I care? You know what I mean? Like, granted, some of it was probably for my own fucking shame and embarrassment for being maybe how I acted towards them at one point in my life. I was never disrespectful, but maybe I was to them, so I'll take that for what it is. But like now I look at it and I'm like, man, the people that really care about me are going to be around no matter what. I think that's what's the coolest thing about it. Seriously. Like, I mean, what am I going to do? Am I going to fucking dwell on all these people who don't like me, or am I going to enjoy the people who actually care? You know what I mean? And that's really what I finally learned that legitimately, and it actually hit. So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that kind of, to bring everything full circle, that I was a one-man party when I saw your message. I literally popped out loud, shut the fuck up. And I mean, again, it's been a while since we've talked, and I know you've been doing your thing with the gaming and whatnot, and I see you're kind of back on the book a little bit because you were, sometimes you just gotta take a fucking break.
People are fucking crazy, but
yeah, you have to. I feel that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a one-man party. I popped out loud, and we had such an amazing conversation with our long-lost friend, Stephen Baker, boys and girls. This has been absolutely fantastic.
I miss all you guys. I really do. I might not, even if I was an asshole to you at any point, I'm sorry. Hit me up. We can square it away. I promise you a lot's changed. So that's the best I can give you. But
if you get a lot of heat, little bit of heat with one Mr. Baker, just reach out and say, hey, man, blah, 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 you fucking asshole, blah, 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 and he'll respond, hey, blah, 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 you fucking asshole.
Call me out on my shit. I probably need it. Like, I mean, I'm okay now, honestly. Like, give me what it is. Before we do go, I will say, in regards to heat, it's not like I'm not going to bring up any names specifically that aren't, again, but Kenny Grover, who is a referee in Maine, me and him had heat for a little bit because there was a, long story short, something didn't go right. And apparently he held a lot of resentment towards me for that, and I didn't know that. But he actually reached out to me around COVID, or maybe a little after COVID, when I was starting to like really get myself back to who I was at the roots, honestly. And he brought it up to me, and we had a very good conversation. And honestly, he's one of my biggest supporters, and vice versa now. Like, that's all it takes, man. Has a conversation, and we can square this away, and you'll see what kind of people we are now. That's important. Seriously.
Good stuff.
I mean, I don't know how many people are going to be listening for all hour 42 fucking minutes that we're here, and maybe you might not hear this part, but the people that do hear it, if you actually have anything you would like to say to me, maybe ever I bothered you about, please talk to me. Like, seriously, I'm a very understanding man. I've matured a lot, whether you may believe in the change or not, like I have. Talk to me, for real. Like, it's not a problem. So
from the Heart Boys and Girls, that's what we like. That's why we do it on the fly. No questions, no formula. Hit record, and you get an absolute fantastic conversation with the likes of one Mr. Baker right here.
Thank you.
Now, before I do let you go, we got to get the deets because you've got this gaming thing going on. So,
Right.
give us, the Twitter, the face page, the Pornhub, whatever you've got going on.
The Pornhub costs money, but the Facebook itself is facebook.com/the Kingsport Gaming. That's all I have right now for the socials, to be honest with you, just because it's easy to get through there. But yeah, look up the Kingsport Gaming in Taunton, Mass. If you're ever in the area, even just for a show, come on, stop by, say what's up. I would love to have you either way, just to say hi.
Okay.
But either way, yeah, I mean, if you like Magic the Gathering, you like Pokemon, you like any nerdy shit, Funko Pops, I'm the guy. Hit me up. So,
Wow. So no personal Pornhub?
Yeah, but they can find it.
You've been an absolute. Speaking of gems, you mentioned gem earlier. You, my friend, have been an absolute gem, hanging with us, the fans, for an hour and 40 flipping minutes. Holy cow!
It doesn't even feel like it. Seriously, I appreciate it a lot. This has been great.
Excellent. He seems in a good place. He's got that beautiful smile. We've been chit-chatting, reminiscing a little bit, talking current product. We talked the Bloodline. I did not expect myself and King Leon VI to talk the fucking Bloodline.
I throw up my ones, man. Roman Reigns fucking got it. He deserves it.
Well, Alec Price, he's been a fan of DK since day one. He's, so we've got something.
Yeah.
We've got something in common. Boys and girls, what a fantastic conversation with one of our favorites that we did see in ring. But sometimes you just got to step away and take care of some things. If he doesn't come back, that's okay. But if he does, that's all the better. And when he does, we got to keep our eyes peeled because we want to see when they make these comebacks, if you will, these little short runs.
Promos.
Yes, we got to keep our eyes peeled and share the medias and say, "Hey, King Leon's coming back out, man. Let's go." So we got to do them shits. This has been Sir to Pot with Don Kincaid and our very special guest, Stephen Baker, aka King Leon VI, aka King the Black Blade, and aka
Leon the Six is fine. You can leave it at that one.
Okay, just Stephen Baker. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.